Hey, what's good, everybody? This is Chef Karl from Cooking and Grilling with Karl, and in this video, I'm making for you the ultimate steak and cheese sandwich on the 22-inch Blackstone Griddle. Right after this. All right, before I get started with the recipe, let me show you all the ingredients. Right here, I have a nice choice ribeye steak. It was about 12 to 14 ounces. Right here, I have some Munster cheese. I have a nice sub roll. All right here, I have the seasonings I'm using. Right here, I have some mayonnaise, some horseradish, some onions, and some cooking oil. And right here, I'm just sharpening up my knife because I'm going to be butterflying my steak. All right. Always use a sharp knife because it's actually dull knives that people cut themselves on more than it is sharp knives. Alright, so right here I'm cutting up some onions. So right here I'm making a horseradish cream, or you can just call it a horseradish mayo. But you know, horseradish cream, it goes really good with steak, it goes really good with beef. Alright. Very simple to make. As you can see, it's just 2 ingredients. Alright, so right here I'm just splitting open my bread, and I'm going to take a little bit of the bread out. This is something that this is a little trick that I learned from a friend of mine I used to work with. He would take some of the bread out, so if he had, you know, like a sub roll or a grinder roll that had too much bread for what he was making, he would tear out some of the inside. So that's something I've been doing over the years, and I want more of the meat, so you'll see what I'm saying once I put the sandwich together. Alright, so right there is my ribeye steak. I'm just going to take a little bit of the fat off. I'm going to leave some fat in there. This is a ribeye, so the fat's going to give it flavor. And this, like I said, this is also a choice ribeye. One of the things I tell people, don't use select beef. It's terrible. Try to stay choice and up. You know, above choice is prime. Alright, so as you can see, I'm butterflying through the steak. That's why I had to make sure my knife was nice and sharp. Alright, so I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to pound them out thin. So here I am just putting some plastic on my cutting board. And the reason I did that because it's a wooden cutting board. When I'm pounding it, I don't want the, you know, the blood and everything to get into the cracks and crevices of the cutting board, so I just put some plastic over it. And now I'm putting some plastic on top of the steak. That's gonna it actually helps to keep the steak from tearing when you're pounding it. Alright, so I'm gonna pound it out nice and thin, probably 1/4 of an inch. Alright, that's what I was looking for. As you can see, I still left some fat in there. That's going to give it a lot of flavor. So what I'm doing now is just cutting the steak into some like small, you know, 1.5-inch size pieces. I'm going to kind of saute this up on my Blackstone Griddle. Kind of like a Philly cheesesteak, but not as chopped. You know, it's going to be nice sized pieces of meat. That's what I'm looking for. That's how I like my I mean, I do like traditional cheesesteaks, Philly cheesesteaks, but this isn't a Philly cheesesteak. This is a steak and cheese, like a, you know, a steak lover steak and cheese. All right, all my meat is cut up. So here I am. I got my Blackstone Griddle preheated. Just do a little bit of oil up there. I'm just going to spread it around, make sure it covers the whole flat top. First thing I'm going to do is go down with my onions and get those nice and sauteed. So basically right here I'm just kind of spreading them out because I want them to caramelize too. I want to get that natural flavor out of there, all that sugar. That's going to make that steak taste really good. Alright, so that's what you're looking for. The onions are starting to caramelize now. And when you're caramelizing the onions, all you're doing is it's just basically it's the sugar that's in the onions that's starting to turn brown. And that's the flavor. That's the flavor that's being brought out of the onions by slow cooking them on the griddle. All right, just going down with a little bit more oil, and now I'm going down with my steak. So right here, I'm just spreading it out, trying to make sure that all the steak is touching the flat top. Here I am going down with my seasonings. That's that Killer Hogs barbecue rub. And I threw a little bit of the Killer Hogs garlic and herb as well. Alright, so all my meat is pretty much cooked. Some of it's still a little bit mid-rare, but that's fine. That's going to keep it nice and juicy. And now I'm just going to kind of move it around a little bit, just make sure everything is cooked evenly and nice and brown. So if you're a steak lover like me, this is the recipe for you. You're definitely going to have to give this a try. Yeah, this is definitely far from a Subway or Jersey Mike's or whatever. This is the real deal joint. And by the way, I don't want anybody to feel alienated if they don't have a Blackstone Griddle or a Camp Chef or some type of flat top. You can also do this on the stove. You got a nice size frying pan or saute pan, like 10 inches or bigger, and you can put a little bit less meat. You can do it in two separate cooks, and then put it in something, put your cheese on it, and just throw it in the oven and melt it like that. Saute your onions first, take them out the pan, then throw in your beef. Saute that up, take it out the pan, throw some more in, if you're cooking for more than one person. And then, like I said, take a sheet pan, put the steak on there, put your onions on, put your cheese on top, put your onions on top of there, and just throw the whole thing in the oven. And then you can toast your bread on the stove as well. So if you don't have a Blackstone Griddle, you can still make a good sandwich like this. All right, as you can see, I got that Munster cheese melting really nice. I got my bread toasting. All right, that cheese is perfectly melted on that steak. The onions are perfectly caramelized. So here I am pulling everything off, building the sandwich for you. All right, so here you go, the ultimate steak and cheese sandwich. Let me tell you, I should have had the reaction when I took the first bite into this sandwich I should have recorded it, but I didn't. But trust me when I tell you, this sandwich was fire. You definitely want to give this a try if you're a steak lover. All right, so I just want to thank you for checking out another one of my videos. This is Cooking and Grilling with Karl. I'm Karl, Chef Karl. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also check me out on social media, Cooking and Grilling with Karl. I'll catch you on the next video. God bless. Peace.